Gameplay provided by Ubisoft. Hey guys, what's up? This is David from Common here, and welcome to a video where I'm talking about the upcoming The Rogue Prince of Persia, which is going to be the roguelike Prince of Persia game that is being worked on by a whole bunch of devs that worked on Dead Cells and also the Ubisoft team. So if you had any experience with that specific franchise, you're going to be in luck because it's going to be an awesome Metroidvania type of, well, less more so Metroidvania, but more so like a roguelike entry into the Prince of Persia franchise, so that's really awesome. So the fact that this game is going to be coming out on early access May 14th, 2024, so in less than a month from today, or actually about a month from today of my time of recording, which is really crazy because Prince of Persia Lost Crown just came out back in January of 2024, and that was a really awesome Metroidvania experience. I wrote credits on that entire game. It was amazing. It was also my first ever diving into the Prince of Persia franchise. I've always seen the Prince of Persia franchise. I've never played the games, but Lost Crown was my first ever entry I ever finished personally. So this is really cool that we're getting another one in the Prince of Persia franchise so soon after Lost Crown for people like me who played that for the first time and loved it. So now we're getting something more in the roguelike realm of things, just like Dead Cells. And also I know about Dead Cells because that game's been around since like 2018. There's been a whole bunch of content put into that game over the last couple of years here. And with the Dead Cells Castlevania crossover that they did last year, they finally ended their development on content for that game. And now some of the people have gone to work on another game called Windblown, which looks really cool. That one's like a top-down isometric looking game. But it looks like some other people from the dev team split off to work on this, the Rogue Prince of Persia, with Ubisoft, which is awesome because you can definitely see a lot of the Dead Cells gameplay inspirations put into the Rogue. So if you like the movement and the combat of the Prince of Persia franchise, or if you've even played the Lost Crown and you really liked how the movement was in that, and I really loved the platforming in Lost Crown, and you love the roguelike elements and the combat of Dead Cells, meshing those together seems perfect. So this is going to be a really awesome game all around. Like I said, it comes out early access May 14th on Steam. Not sure when they're going to do the full release, but looking back in some notes of history for gaming, Dead Cells actually was in early access for a year back in 2017. So then it came out 1.0 release in 2018, and then we know how much it's blown up since then. So I actually have some really high hopes for what they're going to do with the Rogue and Prince of Persia, because there's a lot of potential for them doing like extra crossovers, adding a whole bunch of content post-launch and stuff like that. So yeah, I have really big hopes for the Rogue from what we can just see in terms of the pedigree of the dev team that's working on this game. So if you've been paying attention to any of your favorite gaming outlets, IGN, Game Informer, MinMax, like freaking Kinda Funny Games, everyone's been getting access to gameplay. No one's actually had their hands on the game, at least as far as I'm concerned. I haven't played the game yet, but like I said earlier, the gameplay has been provided by Ubisoft, so as a Ubisoft creator, I am thankful that they were able to provide me with that so I can officially look through it. It was like 16 minutes of gameplay, so, and there was a lot of stuff going on in that 16 minutes too that I can dissect and talk about to you guys, and hopefully you guys will also get excited to check out the Rogue when it drops in May. So first off here, I'm just going to have the gameplay up on screen and I'm going to talk about it as it's going. Definitely there should be some overlap with what I'm talking about and what's on screen here. But for sure, you start off, as you'll notice, the art style is beautiful. It's super vibrant, thick outlines on characters, so it makes it like the background and the characters to make it look like it's kind of like, almost like a cartoon. Like this would be a really cool art style if they made like a Prince of Persia straight to streaming series or something like that. So I like that they found a nice art direction to go to that separates it from like even the Lost Crown that came out just recently. That one was more like straight up 3D models, just looked really good, but this one's more like a 2D specifically, like animated, like cell shaded type of looks, and it's really great. The beautifully drawn backgrounds with detailed lighting, and like also the visual effects that you see in the foreground and background of the level. Like on this first area, there's like the effect of like the sands blowing through the winds, which like makes really great set dressing for like the setting of this game. But also when you're going through the aqueduct later, you also see like the water flowing through the sewers and things like that too, and that's just really beautiful. So I really love like the visual art direction they made for the Rogue as well. And the music fucks. Like, this music is really good. If you, obviously it has that like Middle Eastern sound to it, as Prince of Persia usually does. But there's also like a really good bass and like hip hop influenced sound in here. Like, this soundtrack, I definitely would love to have in terms of like in the background of future videos, or if they drop it on Spotify, because this is a great soundtrack. I'm gonna just let this play for a second, because y'all need to hear how good this sounds. Right? Like, that is so good. It's so good, dude. So definitely I will mostly be listening to the in-game music. I won't be listening to my own stuff on top of it for a good minute. But yeah, they did an amazing job on the soundtrack for this game. And also, as you can see here, the animation, just like I mentioned, the art style is great. The animation is super smooth. The prince's movements are so fluid, like the full stride he has in his running animation, and also like the way that his belt is just flowing through the wind behind him, which is kind of reminiscent, like I said, Dead Cells people worked on this, kind of how when you're playing Dead Cells, the prisoner's like red scarf is blowing in the wind a little bit behind him. Now you have something similar with the prince and his belt flowing in the wind behind him. So it's kind of a little bit of a parallel in development art direction going on there. But it also just makes him stand out from the background and everything that's going on. Like, as long as you can follow that scarf, you know where you are on the field. So nothing too much is going on. You always can find that scarf. And the platforming is just insane. Like, they did a great job on the movement and the fluidity of like getting from point A to point B and moving around and navigating these spaces. Like in Dead Cells, for example, it was straight up just running through hallways, maybe dropping down a couple of corridors and things like that, or climbing up some ladders and stuff. But with this, there's like a double jump, and the way that they incorporate the foreground and the background is really awesome, because you'll notice that most of the layout of the levels has like a wall behind you that kind of overlays the backdrop. And if you double tap the jump button, you will then like kind of scramble on the back end of the wall, and then you can jump off of that and then kind of get a little extra distance. So it's the world design, the level design is built around navigating the points where the wall is behind you and using that to help navigate. And then also in certain spots you'll see where the wall isn't there, so now you have to maybe like clamber up the wall itself in a 2D space rather than sliding from the back and like the background space. And the prince has all the navigational skills you'd expect from something like this, like in Lost Crown, wall jumping, wall climbing, swinging off of poles. Got like an aerial ground slam. In certain areas later on, you'll probably unlock like a move where you can kind of slow descent by like putting your knife into the wall and slowly descending instead of falling straight down. It's also like certain spots where there's ramps that you can slide down and then jump off of those to get like a longer distance, and then you can scramble on the wall, then jump off of that. So there's like a whole bunch of really cool navigational movements that you can do that just make getting from point A to point B super fun and satisfying. And then when you mix that in with the combat too, really combo heavy. It doesn't seem like it's as intricate from a base standpoint as Lost Crown, where Lost Crown had a lot of like input delay moves. It was like a parry. There was a whole bunch of stuff mixed in with that specific battle setup in Lost Crown that felt more like a fighting game. But because the Rogue has more of roguelike elements, there's more like a mix of gameplay elements that you probably expect from like Dead Cells. So you have like your triple attack that is a standard combo. You have a charge attack that each move or each item that you have gives you different charge attacks and things like that. You have a secondary utility weapon, which could be like a bow and arrow or maybe like some bombs or things like that too. And you also have a melee kick, which can be used to kick enemies to give them space away from you. You can kick them into walls or kick them into obstacles, which will damage them, or if you push them into other enemies, that'll also stagger them and stun them. Then you can open them up for combo potential to get like a good opening and stuff like that. So that seems really cool. Just like a simple melee attack, long range attack, plus a stagger. and then you can mix up things like that into your battle system, and that seems really dope. So and also if you're just like mixing up your moves in terms of navigationally around your opponents, you can really find your openings in your own like creative ways of using the environment to your advantage when fighting enemies too. But also there are boss battles in this game as well, as there usually are in roguelike games. So there's like the usual throughout the level fodder that you'll be fighting to get gold, which then you can use to buy extra items and upgrades as you're going through the levels as well. And there's also chests and things that'll have coins and other weapons and things that you'll find as you're going through the levels. But then you will end up getting into boss fights, which are very daunting. You're gonna have to definitely look for those openings and things like that as well. And the boss designs look sick too. Like everything about this game just looks amazing. Like I love the art direction and where they're going with the Rogue Prince of Persia straight up. But yeah, I'm super excited for this actually. Like it came out of nowhere. They didn't shadow drop it per se, but they did announce it, and it's coming out literally a month after the fact. So the fact that they did that in general is really cool. Let's get a little bit into more of like the roguelike elements of this game specifically, because like I said, the Dead Cells people worked on this. If you're into roguelike games like Hades or anything else like that, you'll definitely want to know what kind of elements they have mixed into here. So like I said, when you're going through levels, you'll find chests and things that you can open to get stronger weapons or items that you can use while you're going through the stages. Looks like there might be like mid-stage shops that you can go to that as you're defeating enemies, you'll collect gold, and then you can use that gold to buy items or weapons. Everything has different stats or has different modifiers and passives that you can use as well. There's also like a fountain that you'll sometimes run into that'll be able to just straight up give you all your health or your flasks back. There's kind of like a flask-like system where you press a button, gives you some of your health back. You could probably upgrade that over time to give you more health when you use it. There looks like there's like kind of like a checkpoint system or a teleport spot thing, like in Dead Cells, where you stand on these things and it'll teleport you to another one on the map. So instead of like having to run back the whole way to another one, maybe you can select different ones on certain areas of the map, and then that'll get you to certain points. There's also like sacrifice points as well, where, for example, there was one in the demo where it was like, give 250 of your health, and then it'll just give you like a rare item or something like that. So little risk and reward with certain stuff like that. And then there's special chests, which will have which will be rare chests called equipment chests. That'll have a new weapon or something that you can get. And then once you finally find that weapon or item in that equipment chest, then it'll show up in stores and shops where you can now either craft them later or you can buy them later now. So it's kind of like a way mid-level you're finding more items to then get later on once you go back to shops and stuff like that. So that seems really cool. A lot of like usual fare for roguelike games, but it's definitely the maneuverability of the platforming, mixing it in with that action of the combat. That's really going to get a lot of people in on this. Definitely the platforming does it for me, so that's like a really big deal. There's also a couple of supporting characters in the game too, like looks like you are the Prince. He doesn't have a name, he's just called the Prince. It looks like there's also a character called Fariel, I'm just gonna say Fariel, probably not pronouncing that correctly, but that's your mom, or the Queen of Persia most likely. And then there's another supporting character that you see when you die and respawn, because of course it's a roguelike game, you're gonna die a lot. They have to kind of set that up. But in the demo, he was fighting a boss and he died. And then he was like, because of my bola, I just go back in time and then I'm able to try again to save the kingdom. And I had to look up what a bola was because that seems like a very cultural specific thing. And it looked like it was a necklace that he was like hanging from when he was recalling back to go back in time. So I had to look it up really quick. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I feel like I got a pretty good gist of what that is culturally relevant to the story here. So he said the bola, which is a bola necklace. Apparently it's a really big deal in Middle Eastern cultures and Mexican culture. It says, also known as the harmony bell or an angel collar, a necklace that is made from metal, glass, or stone that has a small ball inside that makes a gentle rattling, which when he did die, the prince died, he did kind of hear like something like a bell in the background when he was in that like space between before he like came back and respawned. It says the necklace is to bring good luck for many and soothe anxiety. Also, it's been used as a symbol of protection, harmony, and spiritual connection. And it's believed that the charm of the necklace would ward off evil spirits and bring peace to its wearer. So the fact that he's wearing that, and then he says like it basically protects him, gives him immortality, and he's able to reset and go back in time. That seems kind of close to probably what the theming of that specific item is. So his Bola necklace is the reason why he's able to go back in time when he gets killed or you lose all your health and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. The fact that this game comes out in a month is really awesome. It looks great. Definitely can't wait to get my hands on it and play it, because this one seems more my speed than personally like with Dead Cells in comparison. Because like I said, I love that movement. I love the speed of it. It looks like the music's gonna be insanely good throughout the whole thing. So definitely, even though it's gonna be in early access on May 14th of next month, I'm probably gonna get access to it because of the gracefulness of Ubisoft, but also I think you guys should check it out too, because it looks great, like if you're into games like this. So comment down below, what do you guys think of the Rogue Prince of Persia? It looks great to me. I want to know what you guys think. Also like this video if you enjoyed it, and then also subscribe to Comment IDW for more videos of Ubisoft content, Prince of Persia, or anything else awesome that you enjoy as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Later.